My name is Mary Woodley, and the art that you will be seeing today is art that has been instilled into me by God the Father. I asked him for a job to do, and this is the job that he has given me. And I'm very proud of it, and as I go through it, I'll explain each photo to you, and hopefully you will enjoy what you see equally as well. The first photo that we will be seeing will be a photo of David when he was in the kingdom of Judea. And actually Nebuchadnezzar is the king over David during that time period. And this is the king of actually Judea. They came over to study and to learn more information to be able to lead for us at this particular time. Some of the characters here are some of the as you can see, you have a magician, you have an astrologist, you have a sorcerer, and then this particular young man is called Children's. They're from the king of Judea, which actually came into that land also to influence these particular people and how they would stay.
Okay.
Portrait number 2, you will see Balak. As the children passed through the land, they came over to Balak's land. Balak was very upset because these people were there. There were so many until they said that it covered his land. They were like ants. So he began to ask Balaam to come and to go to his God and ask his God to remove these people from his land because he just did not wish for them to be there. And as that photo goes on down, you'll see these particular characters, which are the females who came to Moses and Aaron and asked for their father's land to be their possessions because women could not possess anything in the Bible. They had no power whatsoever. The next photo you shall see is when Pharaoh put a curse on all of the firstborn children. And the angel of death came down and began to kill the firstborn children. Moses also are leading those children out of Egypt and on into what is called the Promised Land.
And how long you been doing the art?
I started this art in year 2000. Found out that I had breast cancer at that time, and I felt that some of these things was trials that God had put me through to show me what he really wanted me to do. So through some of these trials, I asked God what could I do for him since he had done so much for me. And this is what he has revealed. This is a portrait of Revelation, Revelation Part 1. And as you can see, he had the candles, 7 candles that surround him, as well as he had the sword in his mouth. The angel actually from God came to John the Baptist and left this message with John the Baptist, what would happen and what would come to pass if we were not obedient people. The next portrait you should see is actually grandfather. I call him grandfather, but his name is Adam. He was the firstborn man, or the first man that were created, I should say. And from him, then all life came about. Eve would be the next photo, which is the mother of all life. This particular photo is the young man that I did that was inspired by Samson. He saw himself as being Samson, and he had visions of fighting with the lion just as Samson fought with that lion. The next photo you should see will be Revelation Part 2. These are the things that will happen as the seals that are opened that God has given each angel to do. Actually, you also have death riding on a horse, and he's full of blood, which is the lamb that will sit above us all and judge us all. Here you'll also see Jesus. He has a chain in one hand, he has a key in the opposite hand, and he's putting Satan at that time into the pit, and he'll lock it up for 2,000 years. This is a young man, Jabian. He was in the kingdom and ruled during the time of Saul. He was also a very good friend of Saul. The next one you should see will be the children of Elijah. They were to fight with these particular people, which were very, very strong and tall people. They were giants, actually. So they had to go to war, battle, and be able to possess that land.
And this is just a whole bunch of collages.
This is just a collage of different ones. This is I Am, which is Jesus himself. This is David. This is King Zalama. He was a ruler during the time of the Bible. This is Ezekiel. Can these dry bones get up and rise again? Moses, as he took the children through the promised land. Samson, and the great Samson, who did the fighting of the lion. There were a lion that he had to fight as he went over to see a young lady that he was forbidden to go to. So during that time period, he had to fight the lion, as you see it in the photo behind you. Here is Pharaoh. When he put the curse onto the children, he also cursed his own firstborn child. Pharaoh and Moses, as they discussed what God had asked Pharaoh to do, which is to release the children, and it shows the snakes where Aaron had laid his rod down, and Aaron's rod is actually eating up Pharaoh's snakes. The next photo you will see is Moses when he built the altar. There were 12 tribes of people. The next photo you should see would be Ruth. And Ruth is a woman who had so much compassion and love for her mother-in-law that she would never leave. The next photo you should see is also a battle where Moses and different ones were actually going into another land to actually seek the land out, doing some spying with it. And the very last photo you should see will be Moses striking the rock, bringing water forth.
So you got a lot of art.
Here is when Moses struck the Egyptian and killed him, when he lived in Pharaoh's kingdom. You also will have Genesis part 1, in the beginning before man was created, and then man being created here, being also driven out of the kingdom. The next photo would be also a book of Genesis and some of the things that happened during that time period, even down to Pharaoh having the dream of the 7 fat cows and the 7 skinny cows. Ezekiel was so caught up in the Spirit of God until he saw many visions, and some of those 4 pieces that you'll see in it are different gods that they worshiped during that time period. Jabian is a king that also ruled in the time of Saul. Moses, when he went up onto the mountain to receive the tablets from God, came down and found that they had a calf that they were idolizing, so he set it on fire. Moses also, when he had built up so much power from God, until he had to build a shield before his face because man could not look upon his face. The rising of Christ. I had that vision one Easter morning, and I just could not help but to draw it because it was just so inspiring, the vision that God had showed me that day. Moses also being taken out of the Nile, and Pharaoh's daughter actually raised him. Esther and her uncle Malachi. Malachi actually believed in the God that we all serve today. During that time period, certain kings had their own gods and you had to worship unto their gods. So his general actually set out to kill Malachi, and Esther found out about it. So the general himself was hung on the same gallows that they set to hang actually Malachi on. And that's where I see through the Bible the first Holocaust came from, because they were to exterminate all Jews. No weapon formed shall ever prosper. All of these weapons are things that can be used against another person as a weapon. Bread of manna. The manna was given to the children to be able to eat when they were in the wilderness and had no food to eat. Aaron's sister was so filled with joy and blessings from God that she and some of her other female friends came out and danced with the little tambourines, where they, shake the tambourines and danced. The water you see here with the tree in it, it is called bitter water. Before the tree went into it, it was bitter water. Once the tree was introduced, then that water was made sweet again. These are the 12 wells of water and the 70 palm trees. They were also given quail to eat because God said man should not eat bread alone. We're looking for truth, and I know there are many other people who are looking for truth. This art, I feel, that will give you a wonderful guide into the Bible, so you'll be able to search these things out for yourself and be able to find truth, your truth. By going to God, asking for understanding of what you're reading, these things also shall be revealed to you. So to me, this art is like a back-up book that you can go through, as well as I've done a reference book of the Bible of different characters that you hear every Sunday about, but you do not know what they look like. So I found many generations of black people. They were not just slaves, they were actually kings and queens and rulers of different lands. So I feel that this art will open a lot of eyes to truth and understanding that we all need to know.